The sun hung low over the hidden leaf village, casting long shadows across the bustling streets where shinobi hurried to their duties and civilians bartered in the market. The air was thick with the scent of grilled meat and the distant hum of training grounds, where the clashing of kunai and the crackle of chakra filled the space between the trees. At the heart of it all stood Naruto Uzumaki, his bright orange jumpsuit a stark contrast against the muted hues of the village. He grinned, hands behind his head, as he bragged to his teammates about his latest training breakthrough. "You should have seen it, Sakura-chan. I totally mastered that new jutsu. Believe it." Sakura rolled her eyes, though a small smile tugged at her lips, while Sasuke scoffed, his dark eyes narrowing. "TCH. As if you could ever surpass me, dead last." But beneath the playful rivalry, something darker stirred. Unbeknownst to Naruto, the very entity that had shaped his life, the nine-tails fox sealed within him, was plotting. The beast's crimson eyes glowed in the depths of Naruto's subconscious, its massive tails twitching with restrained fury. For years, it had bided its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And now, with Naruto's guard lowered by his trust in his friends, the fox saw its chance. The first sign of betrayal came during a routine mission. Team 7 had been dispatched to investigate strange chakra fluctuations near the border of the Land of Fire. The forest was eerily quiet, the usual chirping of birds absent. Naruto's senses prickled, his hand instinctively reaching for a kunai. "Something's off," Sasuke muttered, Sharingan activating as he scanned the tree line. Sakura clenched her fists, her medical training heightening her awareness of the unnatural stillness. Then, without warning, the ground erupted beneath them. A colossal paw, wreathed in dark chakra, slammed into Naruto's chest, sending him crashing through trees. Gasping for breath, Naruto barely had time to register the monstrous form of the nine tails looming over him, its fangs bared in a snarl. "You!" Naruto choked out, disbelief warring with pain. The fox's voice echoed in his mind, dripping with malice. "Foolish boy! Did you truly believe I would remain your prisoner forever?" The beast's claws raked downward, but Naruto twisted at the last second, summoning a shadow clone to take the blow. The clone burst into smoke as Naruto rolled to his feet, his blue eyes blazing with determination. "I don't know what's gotten into you, but I'm not gonna let you take over." Sasuke and Sakura sprang into action. Sasuke's Sharingan spun as he unleashed a barrage of fireballs, the flames roaring toward the fox's massive frame. The nine tails swiped a tail, dispersing the fire with contemptuous ease before lashing out with a whip-like strike. Sakura intercepted, her fist slamming into the ground with enough force to create a crater, diverting the attack. "Naruto, we need to seal it back inside you," she shouted. But the fox was faster. Its chakra surged, forming a swirling orb of black and red energy, a tailed beast bomb. The air itself seemed to tremble as the sphere condensed, its power distorting the surrounding space. Naruto's heart pounded. He had seen this technique before, but never directed at him. With a roar, the fox launched the attack. Time slowed. Naruto's hands flew through seals, his body surging with Kurama's own chakra as he entered his nine tails chakra mode, golden flames erupting around him. He met the tailed beast bomb head-on, his Rasengan forming in his palm, its spiraling energy clashing against the destructive force. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the forest, trees splintering like twigs. Naruto gritted his teeth, muscles straining as he pushed back, but the fox's power was overwhelming. Just as the bomb threatened to consume him, Sasuke appeared in a blur of speed, his Susanoo forming around them both. The skeletal armor absorbed the brunt of the explosion, though cracks spiderwebbed across its surface. "Idiot," Sasuke growled, though his voice lacked its usual bite. "You can't win alone." Naruto grinned weakly. "Guess I owe you one." But the nine tails wasn't finished. With a deafening roar, its form shifted, its chakra condensing into a humanoid figure, a transformation Naruto had never seen before. The fox now stood as a towering warrior, wreathed in black flames, its eyes burning with hatred. "You insects dare defy me?" it thundered, swinging a massive chakra blade. Sakura lunged, her chakra-enhanced strength allowing her to shatter the blade with a single punch, but the fox retaliated with a backhand that sent her skidding across the ground. Sasuke's Susanoo lashed out with a sword of its own, only for the fox to catch it mid-swing, crushing the construct in its grip. Naruto felt a surge of desperation. This wasn't just a battle, it was a fight for survival. And as the fox advanced, its laughter echoing like a death knell, Naruto realized the true cost of its betrayal. The bond he thought they shared had been a lie. Now, he would have to fight not just to save himself, but the entire village he had sworn to protect. His hands tightened into fists. "All right, Kurama. If this is how it's gotta be, then I'll show you what I'm really made of. The air crackled with tension as Naruto stood across from Kurama, the once trusted celestial fox whose golden fur now bristled with malevolent energy. The battlefield, a ruined expanse of shattered earth and smoldering craters, bore witness to their earlier clash, but this was far from over. Naruto's breath came in ragged gasps, his orange jacket torn and singed, yet his blue eyes burned with unyielding resolve. "Why, Kurama?" he demanded, fists clenched. "After everything we've been through, why betray me now?" Kurama's lips curled into a sneer, his massive tails lashing like whips. "Foolish boy," the fox rumbled, his voice a deep growl that shook the ground. "You never understood true power. I tolerated your weakness, but no more." With a sudden burst of speed, Kurama lunged, his claws slashing through the air like scythes. Naruto barely dodged, rolling to the side as the ground where he'd stood exploded upward in a geyser of debris. Pushing off the rubble, Naruto channeled chakra into his legs, launching himself skyward. His hands flew through a rapid series of seals. Shadow clone jutsu. Dozens of copies materialized around him, each mirroring his determined glare. They descended like a swarm, kunai flashing as they struck from all angles. Kurama roared, spinning in a whirlwind of tails, obliterating the clones in bursts of smoke, but Naruto had used the distraction. He appeared above the fox, Rasengan swirling violently in his palm. "Take this," he shouted, driving the attack downward. Kurama's eyes narrowed. At the last second, he twisted, catching Naruto's wrist with a clawed hand. Predictable, he spat before hurling Naruto into the earth with bone-jarring force. The impact sent shockwaves through the battlefield, dust clouds billowing upward. Before Naruto could recover, Kurama's tails lashed out, wrapping around him like constricting serpents. The pressure was crushing, ribs creaked, blood trickled from Naruto's lips. But then, a familiar warmth flared in his gut. A surge of red chakra erupted around him, his skin darkening as Kurama's own power rebelled against the fox's grip. The tails recoiled, and Naruto landed in a crouch, his whisker marks deepening, his pupils slitting. "You gave me this power," he growled, his voice layered with a feral edge. "Now I'll use it to bring you down." Kurama bared his fangs, but for the first time, hesitation flickered in his eyes. Naruto didn't wait. He blurred forward, a crimson streak, his fists a whirlwind of devastating blows. Kurama blocked each strike, but the force drove him back, his massive frame skidding across the ruined landscape. With a snarl, the fox retaliated, firing a point-blank blast of Baijuu energy. Naruto crossed his arms, the chakra shield around him flaring bright, but the explosion still sent him tumbling. Landing on his feet, Naruto spat blood, his mind racing. He's stronger than ever. I need more. Digging deep, he reached for the power he'd sworn to avoid, the Nine Tails chakra mode. Golden energy erupted around him, his cloak flaring like a sunburst. Kurama's eyes widened. "You dare?" Naruto didn't answer. He vanished, reappearing behind Kurama with a devastating uppercut that sent the fox soaring. Before Kurama could recover, Naruto was there again, a spinning kick to his ribs, then a knee to his jaw. The attacks came faster than sight, each hit resonating like thunder. Kurama roared, swiping wildly, but Naruto weaved through the strikes, his movements a blur of precision and fury. Then, in a desperate gambit, Kurama gathered his remaining chakra into his maw, forming a massive tailed beast bomb. The sphere of annihilation pulsed with dark energy, distorting the air around it. Naruto didn't flinch. Instead, he formed his own Rasen Shuriken, the whirling sphere screeching as it expanded. Their eyes locked, betrayer and betrayed, before they launched their attacks simultaneously. The collision was cataclysmic. Light swallowed the battlefield, the shockwave flattening mountains in the distance. When the glare faded, both stood battered but unbroken. Kurama panted, his fur matted with dirt and blood. Naruto's cloak flickered, his energy waning, but he refused to fall. "You still don't get it," Naruto said, forcing himself upright. "This isn't just about power. It's about bonds. And I won't let you throw ours away." With a final, desperate surge, he charged, his fist glowing with the last of his chakra. Kurama braced, but at the last second, Naruto's strike faltered. His fist stopped inches from the fox's snout. Kurama stared, bewildered. "Why?" Naruto's voice was raw but firm. "Because I still believe in you." For a heartbeat, the world stood still. Then Kurama's gaze flickered, doubt, regret, something deeper. The battle wasn't over. But something had shifted. And as the dust settled, the true fight, for trust, for redemption, had only just begun. The air crackled with energy as Naruto stood atop the shattered remains of Konoha's Hokage monument, his breath ragged, his orange jumpsuit torn and singed. Across from him, the celestial fox, once his trusted ally, now a vengeful force of destruction, bared its fangs, its 9 tails lashing like whips of pure chakra. The sky above swirled with dark clouds, lightning arcing between them as if the heavens themselves trembled at their clash. Why? Naruto growled, his voice raw with betrayal. After everything we've been through. Why turn on me now? The fox's crimson eyes gleamed with ancient malice. You were never my equal, Naruto. You were a vessel, a means to an end. And now, I will reclaim what was stolen from me. The battle erupted in an instant. Naruto lunged, his Rasengan spiraling to life in his palm, while the fox countered with a swipe of its massive claws. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the earth, toppling what little remained of the village. Naruto twisted midair, hurling a barrage of shadow clones, each one a decoy, a distraction, but the fox saw through them, its tails obliterating them with effortless sweeps. Pain flared through Naruto's body as a claw grazed his side, blood splattering the ground. He gritted his teeth. He couldn't afford to hold back. Drawing on every ounce of his remaining strength, Naruto summoned Kurama's chakra, the fiery cloak enveloping him in a blaze of orange energy. The fox sneered. Pathetic. You still rely on borrowed power. Naruto didn't respond. Instead, he charged, his movements a blur, fists colliding with the fox's jaw in a devastating uppercut. The beast staggered, but retaliated with a point-blank blast of tailed beast bomb. The explosion engulfed Naruto, the force hurling him through the air. He crashed into the ruins of the Hokage Tower, rubble collapsing around him. For a moment, everything was still. Then, a hand shot out from the debris, gripping the broken stone. Naruto forced himself upright, his body screaming in protest. His vision swam, but he refused to fall. Memories flashed, his friends, his village, the bonds he'd forged. He couldn't let them down. Not now. Not ever. With a roar, he unleashed his ultimate technique, the Rasen Shuriken, its whirling blades humming with lethal precision. The fox's eyes widened as the attack connected, slicing through its defenses, the sheer force tearing at its very essence. But the fox wasn't finished. With a guttural snarl, it retaliated, its tails wrapping around Naruto, crushing him in a vice-like grip. Bones creaked. Naruto gasped for air, his vision darkening at the edges. This isn't over, he choked out. Then, from the depths of his soul, a voice echoed, Kurama's voice. You idiot. You're not alone, remember? A surge of warmth flooded Naruto's veins as Kurama's chakra merged with his own, their spirits intertwining one final time. The fox recoiled as golden light erupted from Naruto's body, his form shifting into the ultimate Sage of Six Paths mode. The tide turned. Naruto moved faster than thought, his fists a storm of justice, each blow driving the fox back. The beast howled, its form flickering, its power waning. Impossible. It snarled. You were nothing without me. Naruto's eyes blazed with resolve. You're wrong. I was never nothing. I had something you never understood, friends who believed in me. With a final, earth-shattering punch, he struck the fox's core, the impact resonating like a thunderclap. The celestial fox let out one last, agonized scream before its form shattered into motes of light, dissolving into the wind. Silence fell. Naruto collapsed to his knees, his body spent, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Around him, the ruins of Konoha smoldered, but the battle was over. The villagers emerged from hiding, their faces a mix of awe and relief. Sasuke appeared at his side, offering a rare smirk. Took you long enough, Naruto laughed weakly, though it hurt to breathe. Yeah, well. I had to make it dramatic. In the aftermath, the world changed. The celestial fox's betrayal had shaken the balance of power, but Naruto's victory proved that bonds could overcome even the greatest darkness. The villages, once divided, now looked to Konoha with renewed respect. Naruto, though scarred, stood taller than ever, not just as a hero, but as a beacon of hope. And as the sun rose over the rebuilt Konoha, casting golden light over the new era, one thing was certain: the future was theirs to shape.